blessed with the opportunity to do it, but it was also early in the process of the game changing that way. So I got to kind of learn as it went. I completely realized, being around some of the best coaches in the game for the last 10 years, 12 years of my life, I understand how daunting looking at it can be if you don't understand it. We've all looked at an Excel sheet and not know what the hell it is, or looked at graphs and been like, what the hell? Put that and times it by 100, that's this. Once you start to digest it and you understand, like, hey, like, this is what this means and this is why, because you can look at just one thing and it means nothing because everything else is changing around it. So it's complex, but it's very, very easily learned by baseball people. The people that are kind of in this analytics world right now, it's tough to learn what we've been through. You know, the grind, the daily nonsense, the just the pressures that get poured on you from elsewhere. Dealing with your junior year and being draft eligible and all this stuff is crazy. So the analytics side of it is just more understanding little bits and pieces, and that's kind of my job too. Is we coach coaches. We all help each other. Ellie helps me with pitchers if I think I'm missing something here. I don't. What am I looking at? Like, where am I missing? Because I've gone every route that I think is right, and he helps, and I do the same for him, and Bloomy and controlling the running game, and Sam helping me with picks and guys times the plates and all this stuff. It's where we all kind of do it together, and it gets to be something special.
We talked in the fall, or last time we talked to you guys in the fall. You mentioned that the guys are starting to figure out what the numbers mean. How much have you seen them kind of learn since then, or what are those conversations like? Like, how more in depth are they getting into?
They're getting much farther in depth, which is fun for me, but also sometimes where some of these conversations go, it takes me to some place that I'm like, well, give me a minute. Let's hold this thought, because I need to make a phone call, because I need to make sure that I'm right. I'm not gonna try to lead a guy somewhere and be wrong. So I understand where my limits are, and then I'll go find the answer and get it explained to me better. But to answer your questions about where our players are as a whole is light years. I think that's what, if you would ask anybody in that clubhouse how much they've learned, I think they would all pretty much say, like, it's too much to mention. We've only scratched the surface. I always kind of talk about it like, we're still doing more stuff in the lab, and we still got more things we can present them with. We're pretty much presenting them with pitch metrics and release heights and release sides and kind of all the basic stuff. We haven't even hit them with the biomechanical side of it yet. And once we get force plates, we're drinking from a fire hose right now, these kids are, and we haven't even turned the thing all the way on yet. So I think that where they're at is in a great spot. They're learning quickly, they're understanding, they're digesting, they're understanding why things are going a certain way when they're out there by themselves. And that's the one of the best things to see, is they're like, yeah, I know I was off and my hand was dropping because I could tell, because it was running, and this was the contact, and this was where my miss was, so I knew this was wrong. And that's cool. That you're coaching yourself. Like, we only get a select few mound visits, and I don't want to go out there every time to tell you to make mechanical adjustments, because that's not the time to do it. The time to do it is over here in this bullpen. So it's pretty fun to watch, and I'm sure that these guys are loving it, and they're paying attention to baseball games and other pitchers. And when we get all these guys that come here and throw their pens getting ready for spring training, they're sitting there watching the TrackMan data and understanding what's going on. So it's pretty special to see.
And Jacobs has had a lot of outside draft conversations.
Mm-hmm.
His potential, given your professional experience coaching in that area, what do you see for a guy like that, the potential that can be tapped into?
Yeah, he's a very, very good pitcher. He's elite. He's going to have a great career. I do know that. How this game goes and how these first couple weeks go are going to be a lot for him, because he hasn't had to deal with a ton of adversity lately. And quite honestly, there's a chance that he doesn't have to deal with it at all this year. That's how good he is. So we try to teach him those little lessons as we go, and make sure he's fine-tuned enough and mentally strong enough, and sticks to his routines as much as he can, and try to eliminate the noise. But he is going to do a lot of special things in this game. I've been around a lot of arms, and it's pretty special to see what his does, and just the overall command that he has. One more thing on Ben is he's very driven to do something special in this game. So now we just need to point that sight in the right direction and let them go.
And talking to him, his entire mindset is team focused.
Yeah.
He said is not focused on any individual goals. His only goal is to get to Omaha, help his team to Omaha. He said he wants Arizona State to become a pitching school.
That's what I love to hear.
So, where do you think you guys are at, and kind of making that model with the new pitching lab and really being able to attract high-level pitching talent?
Exactly. I think what it is maximizing the talent that we have. That's all we can do. I can't look beyond this year. I can't look back. We have this great group of players here now. Let's maximize their potential, and then this stuff starts to spread. These guys are going to go play summer ball somewhere, and they're going to talk to a bunch of people that they're playing with, and they're going to say, well, this is what we did every day, and this is what we got. And that's all we can do is create a culture of growth and confidence, and make sure that they believe in themselves, because I believe in them. And that's one of the big messages that I tell these guys all the time is, do not let me believe in you more than you believe in yourself. Like, that's a problem. I think they feel that. So I think that puts us in a pretty damn good place for all these guys.
Going back to the pitching meetings that you have with the catchers as well.
Yeah.
How involved are the catchers in the conversation, and how important is their input?
It's incredibly important, because once these games start and we're in full go mode, I'm going to have to rely on these catchers to tell me what stuff's going on. Like, we're not going to get a ton of data when we're on the road, so it's our eyes from the side, which is shoddy at best. You guys can tell that when you're sitting up there. Like, we'll be bitching about balls and strikes, and they might not even be anywhere near it. So it's tough. So I have to rely on the catchers. Like, hey, this is what he's doing. This is what I see. This thing's really carrying the depth. This one's getting a little slurvy at times. So we rely on them. They ask a ton of good questions. They're eager to learn. We had Campos here that was getting ready, and he's even eager to learn. This is a level of the game that can take you to another. It's just as important as some of the other things, like, recovery or strength or any of that. It's just another piece to make you as good as you can possibly be.
Then, on Friday, what are the rotational competitions and how that's playing out for Saturday and Sunday slots?
Honestly, we got a lot of guys that are throwing the ball well. At this point, Bloomy keeps wanting to have these conversations, and quite honestly, I'm just not ready yet. I want to see what these guys do. The fourth inning, second time through, all these things kind of matter. So, we had guys that were probably slated to be bullpen arms, and where do you see yourself pitching? Where do you see yourself taking the ball? I see myself taking the ball on a weekend starting. Well, go get it. You'll get every opportunity in the world to do it. Go get it. So we're giving these guys these opportunities, and some of them are running with them, and some of them are pitching damn good, but it's going to be a tough decision, which is all we can ask for. Now, our goal with that question is, where we have to pick who's going to pitch where, is how do we get them all to be locked in and nobody to feel bad? How it's not bigger. It's we, not me. So that's the message that we're trying to deliver. That's when we have our pitchers meetings. I'm happy that Ben said this is a pitching school. That's the message that I gave. F that. We're not a hitting school anymore. Not in this room. We're not. We're a pitching school. Let's go. So they're starting to believe, and that's what's a beautiful thing. And they're picking each other up, and everybody's fighting and pulling in the same direction, because the farther we go, the more opportunities everybody gets. And I think they understand that.
How have you seen the involvement of the internal competition from fall to spring?
I think it's good. I think that it's hard to put myself in that place, like some of these kids were in the fall, where we knew we had a couple too many, and there was things that's an added pressure that I don't think us as coaches always kind of understand. I think that's good, because guess what? Pressure is going to present itself at some point. But allowing these guys a fair shake and a fair opportunity at going out there and competing as good as they can is equally as important. So the internal competition is healthy and great. And we've had a couple guys get negative at times, and we nip that shit in the butt fast. Just not here, like not with us, not this group. We're fighting for each other, not against each other. So let's figure out a way to do this together and help each other.